Hello and welcome back to the Grand Prix World Series. My name is Topher Smith, and today we head to Curitiba in Brazil for the third round of Season 6 of this fantastic championship. We head into this round eagerly anticipating the first upgrade window of the season, and the teams will be vying to get those all-important pounds and dollars towards their budgets to improve their power, their downforce and their reliability. But heading into today, who has the advantage in the championship? Let's take a quick look at the standings. As ever, starting off in League 2, and it is Spiker domination at the moment as Roman Grosjean leads the championship on 30 points, one ahead of his teammate Colton Herta on 29. YFA third in the Prema on 26, ahead of Gabriele Mini on 25, our race winner from the season opener in Road America. Igor Fraga fifth on 17 points in the Ram, ahead of Luke Browning in the Simtech on 15. Nick de Vries in a Toyota on 14, ahead of Felix Rosenqvist, our reigning champion. He currently lies 8th, also on 14 points, ahead of Jamie Chadwick in the Iron Dames, and Scott McLaughlin in the Mazda rounding out the top 10 at the moment on 10 points. And in the teams, with Spiker having their drivers first and second in the championship, they lead the way in the team standings as well. 59 points for Ben Hagson's team, 33 ahead of Prema on 26, Bimota KRT on 25, Ram on 23, Simtech on 15, 40 Corsa also on 15 ahead of Toyota on 14, Iron Dames on 12, Mazda on 10, Chip Ganassi on 4, Zach Speed on 2, Opel on 1, and M Sports the only team yet to score any points so far this season. They will be looking to do just that in today's Curitiba Grand Prix. And with no driver changes, we can get straight to the qualifying results, and we have a surprise pole sitter for today's race. Dorian Pan in the Iron Dames puts it on pole position for her first ever pole position, and also the first for the team as well. Jake Sanson making the right call on the setup for this race. Nick de Vries qualifies second, but will take a 5-place grid drop after ramming Sebastian Ogier off the road in the last round in Aruba. That means Joseph Newgarden, who qualified third, will start on the front row alongside Dorian Pan. Colton Herta qualified fourth ahead of Pato Ward. Mitch Evans 6th in the Opel ahead of Ryo Hirakawa in 7th. Dan Tixon 8th in the Simtech, then Gabriele Mini and Roman Grosjean, our championship leader, starting from 10th today. Jamie Chadwick a bit disappointed to be 11th on the grid, especially considering that her teammate is on pole. Earl Bamber 12th ahead of Felix Rosenqvist and YFA. Luke Browning 15th ahead of Nick Cassidy. Scott McLaughlin 17th in the Mazda. And then Mick Schumacher, Steph Dusseldorp doing a fantastic job in qualifying to get his best results so far. 19th in the unfancied Zach Speed, and then Antonio Giovinazzi 20th in the second 40 Corsa. And at the back, Sebastian Ogier, Shosu Boy, Igor Fraga, Ayumu Iwasa, Leonardo Fornaroli, and Philippe Salaquada, the only driver outside of a second of the pole time for today's race. So a first pole position for Dorian Pan. Will that convert into her first ever victory in the Grand Prix World Series and the third different female to win in this championship? There's only one way to find out. Let's head to the grid and get this race started, and we can hand over to our regular commentator Tom Cairns, who is in the box waiting to get this one started. So Tom, let's hand it over to you.
Another new pole sitter, Dorian Pan, at the head of the field, and it's the first for Iron Danes. Can Newgarden do anything about it from second position? Lights are on. Lights off, it's going. A brilliant start from Dorian Pan from pole position, but Herta got away even better. Is going in front of Newgarden at the start. It's going to lead into turn one before he even get there. So Herta leads, but he's got a Toyota alongside. That's Nick de Vries, who's come through from 7th place on the grid, has leapt up into P1. Incredible start by the Dutchman. Herta is in second place, Pan down to third place despite that brilliant start, and we've got a car already out, and it's Grosjean who won out last time at Aruba. It looks like he's got hit from behind, and he has done. He's been punted into the barrier there, and he's pointing the wrong way, so he's not actually out of the race. It's Roman Grosjean, but that race is heavily compromised of his, and it's Dan Tixon who looks like he ran into the spiker, and he did. That was avoidable from the Brit, and he'll be hit with some form of punishment. Will the Simtech driver. Grosjean rejoins in 26th and last place. And Dan Tixon's punishment from the stewards As we wait from race control, 10-second time penalty, a 5-place grid drop at the next race, and 3 penalty points on his licence. De Vries still leading the way, and it's Hertha in second place. Toyota leading Spiker, leading Iron Danes, and it's Gabriele Mini, who won the opening round at Road America, is in 4th place. Joseph Newgarden down to 5th after starting 2nd. But there is Mitch Evans in the Opel on the move, on the pit straight. And there goes Evans on the inside of Newgarden into turn 1. The Kiwi getting past the American, or so he thought. And it didn't look like he had the straight line speed in order to get the move completed. There we see Pan in 3rd place, trying to keep up with Hertha. Pole sitter last time at Aruba was the American. Came away with a 2nd place finish, a long way off the race winner of Remo Grosjean. And we've got Scott McLaughlin in the pit lane already with damage, so it's not been a good start to this one for the Kiwi, who's got a lot of work to do from here. Now Scott McLaughlin, who started the race from 17th on the grid, came away with a points finish, lost him out in the Caribbean. A 5th place finish was a great effort for the Mazda driver. And there we see Jamie Chadwick in the 2nd Iron Dames, attempting to get by Pato O'Ward at Victoria. There's no way through for her that time around, but the straight line speed might help Chadwick on the pit straight, the slipstream I should probably say. Now, I will run through the setups in regards to which the teams have gone for. Chadwick overtakes O'Ward at turn 1. So 40 have gone for maximum top speed, Zach speed neutral. Mazda and Chip Ganassi have gone for mid top speed. Iron Danes mid downforce. Toyota and Ram mid top speed. Prema maximum top speed. Simtek mid top speed. Opel maximum top speed. Bimota, Spiker and M Sport have all gone for mid top speed. Toyota haven't won in the Grand Prix World Series. This is their 21st championship race. Will it be the right number coming up for them here at the expense of Nick de Vries, who hasn't won for a very, very long time in this championship? So looking to change it here, and the same for Rio Hirakawa, who last took victory in Kyalami last season when he was racing for Minardi. Further back we can see Antonio Giovinazzi in the 40 running in 21st place behind the M Sport of Leo Fornaroli. And we've got a car slowing on the pit straight. That is Sebastian Ogier, who cannot catch a break at the moment. That's 3 races and 3 non-finishes for the Frenchman. And Lorenzo Churi is going to have a lot of work to do. It's going to be a long season in his maiden campaign as a Grand Prix World Series team manager as he watches Ogier retire. Out goes Ogier, and he's the first one to pull out of this, and it's a gearbox failure that is the cause. Back at the front, Hertha on the tail of De Vries as they come out of Victoria. Chadwick is continuing her pursuit for a strong result today, and she's on the tail of the 40 of Felix Rosenquist. The reigning Grand Prix World Series champion is about to be passed here. Now, if Chadwick can just stay alongside with the downforce advantage that Iron Dames have gone for this race, Chadwick should be able to use that to her advantage. Evans overtakes Mini for 4th position, and Chadwick did get by Rosenquist at turn 1 further back, so that's her through into 8th position. So far in this one, De Vries is up 6 positions. Hertha has moved up 1. Pan is down 2. Evans is up 1. Mini is up 4. Hirakawa is in the same position as where he was on the grid. Newgarden is down 5. Chadwick is up 3. Rosenquist has made up 4. And Patso Award, running in 10th position, is down 6. And looking at the second of the Opals in the field, Nick Cassidy has got Dan Tixham ahead of him. Tixham does have that time penalty hanging over him, remember, which will be applied at the end of this race. At least we won't be hearing any tantrums from Dan this time around, considering it is the Grand Prix World Series after all. Outside the points, we've got Yiafi in the Premier in 11th, and it's the Chip Ganassi of El Bamba in 12th. Luke Browning, podium finisher last time in Aruba, is running in 13th. Nick Cassidy in the Opal is in 14th. And then Dan Tixon ensures that Cassidy is in that Simtex sandwich in 15th position. Long way to go yet in this one. And there is Jamie Chadwick, who is continuing to have the race of her life here in Curitiba. It's the second time it's hosted a round in the Grand Prix World Series. It did so towards the back end of Season 3. Chadwick has got by Joseph Newgarden for P7. Incredible performance from Jamie Chadwick. One-time race winner in Aruba last season. And things are getting better for Iron Danes and for team manager Jake Sanson. And there was an overtake. That was a Yuma Iwasa going past Antonio Giovinazzi for 20th place. And we're looking on board at Dorian Pan, who's over a second clear of Mitch Evans. This is just over a second behind Colton Herter, who is trying to stay in touch with Nick de Vries ahead. The upgrade window will open after this round for all the team managers to add anything to brake horsepower, downforce and reliability. The top 3 teams at the end of the season in League 2 will be promoted to League 1, and the bottom 3 teams in League 1 will go down the other way. Right on board with Yiafi, heading by Felix Rosenquist. He was in the slipstream, then pulled out. He's done enough. That's Yiafi going past Felix Rosenquist. There we see Pan in the Iron Dames going after Herter. After the opening 2 rounds, both of them being won by 2 of the 4 teams, the new ones, for Season 6. The other ones that are still to pick up a win are Opal and M Sport. It's safe to say that Opal are the likeliest to be the next to come away with victory. There's only one M Sport left in the race now, that's Leo Forneroni, who's down towards the back. Drivers are coming round to complete their 8th lap, and de Vries is continuing to pole clear of the rest. And that's an engine failure for Mitch Evans in the Opal. Horrible luck for the Kiwi. And he's going to be out again, unfortunately, for the second race in a row. Just 1 point from 3 races for him. Wants to get out of the way. Oh, he nearly cut across on Joseph Newgarden. That could have been wild. That could have been an airplane accident. I think Newgarden's just got through on Jamie Chadwick, who was probably held up by the alien Mitch Evans. And Leo Forneroni is also inside, so both of the M Sports are out of the race. He's pulled off at exactly the same spot as where Sebastian Ogier had retired. A horrible first few races for the M Sport team. That's 3 races and no finishes yet for the British team. The gearbox failure for Leo Forneroni, the same for Ogier. whereas Mitch Evans' cause is an engine failure. At least that will allow Scott McLaughlin to move up a couple of positions at the expense of those two. There he is, look. 9 laps down. These laps are going by very, very quickly. It'll be a considerably quicker race compared to what we saw in Aruba. Nick Cassidy is carrying all of Opel's hopes to come away with a strong result today. He has yet to score a point so far this season. There's the Kiwi. And that is the Bimota going through on the Ram. By the looks of things, that might have been a Yuma Waza getting through on Igor Fraga. They're both outside the top 15. And there we see the other Bimota of Gabriele Mini in 5th position. Jamie Chadwick's got back ahead of Joseph Newgarden, so that you know. And using the extra downforce, this is playing into Chadwick's hands nicely. Coming into this round, Roman Grosjean was the championship leader. He's going to be up against it to keep hold of that. Colton Herter, his teammates, the next driver behind, just a point adrift. We're right on board with Colton Herter. Owen Ward has got through on Newgarden for 7th place. And Luke Browning's got through on El Bamber at the same time. So Chip Ganassi are beginning to struggle at the moment. About 10 out of 50, 20% of the race done so far. There are pit stops to come. Lock up from Nick Cassidy in 13th. Some drivers will be doing the 2-stop, others will be doing the 1. The 1-stop was the way to go in both races here when we last raced in season 3. And now we look at Pan on the tail of Herter coming out of Vittoria. Now, if she could just stay in the slipstream, she could make her way through on Herter at some point, but Herter's straight line speed is what's keeping in there, and that's Dan Tixham coming to a slowdown. Does he make it back to the pit lane? He does not. Dan Tixham out of the race. The time penalty proving to be irrelevant as he pulls to the side on the pit straight. He's got the penalty points and he's got the grid drop of 5 places to serve next time out at Potrero de los Funes, Argentina. And another gearbox failure. So we've got 3 drivers out with gearbox failures. And we see Mick Schumacher also coming to a slowdown in the Prema this time. And it's another race without a finish here for Mick. That's 3 races, and all of them he's retired from. That's the 5th driver to retire. At least it's not the rate of which we saw in Aruba, where we saw something like 10 drivers drop out in the opening 11 laps. So that's Mick gone. Yifi carrying all of Prema's hopes. And here is Pan going through on the Colton Herter for 2nd place, and she's done it! Great pass from Dorian Pan. The reigning F1 Academy champion is through into 2nd place. Now it's Nick de Vries that should be going after, and out goes Jamie Chadwick, unfortunately. Horrible luck for Jake Sanson, the team manager of the squad. It's another gearbox failure. So cruel. And Chadwick, well, should be hoping for better luck next time out in Argentina. It's been that sort of race so far here. So that's 6 drivers out of the race, 20 still going. Chadwick's retirement has allowed Newgarden, Yee, Browning and Rosenquist up positions in the points. Earl Bamber in the Chip Ganassi is on the tail of Rosenquist. Now looking at the setups between the 40 and the Chip Ganassi. Mid-top speed for Chip Ganassi and maximum top speed for 40. But Bamber's got by Rosenquist. I think the extra downforce may have helped him get by there. And he's through into 10th position. Two Toyotas in the top 4 places. Ryu Hirakawa in 4th position ahead of Mini. Herta's left Mini for dead, so he can switch his focus on the top 3. How long will it be before we start seeing pit stops? Probably around about lap 16 or 17, so we're around about a couple of laps away yet. And that's Nick Cassidy on the tail of Felix Rosenquist on the pit straight. Is he the latest to send him down the order? It looks that way. And Cassidy gets past the 40 and up into P11. Herta in 3rd position. Roman Grosjean is outside the top 15 after he was punted off the circuit at the start by Dan Ticktum. Grosjean started the race in 10th place. And De Vries comes out of the last corner here. I think he may have missed a gear coming through there. So far, so good for Toyota. Having said that, the cars have hit reliability issues in both of the races. And that's Steph Dusseldorp slowing in the Zaxby coming out of the final corner. But he is able to get back to the pit lane with a puncher. So at least he'll stay in this one. Steph Dusseldorp. He didn't lose too much time en route to pit entry. Had it been earlier on in the lap, he probably would have needed to pull it to the side. Herta behind Pan. And McLaughlin in for his first scheduled pit stop, and into the pit lane come both Herta and Pan, and Hirakawa is also in the Toyota. So this is an attempt of an undercut on Nick De Vries. He stays out, as does Yee, as does Newgarden, as does Bamber, as does Rosenquist. Pato Ward has come into the pit lane in the Ram. It's a very, very busy pit lane at the moment. That's Roman Grosjean going through on Philippe Salaquada for P11. And looks like Herta has got the jump on Pan in the pit lane. So he's effectively through into 2nd place by the time Nick De Vries has done his first pit stop. I would probably say De Vries will be in at the end of this lap or the next one. And we see McLaughlin going through on Felix Rosenquist. see Yuffie, who's ahead of Joseph Newgarden. Chooses to stay out there. Yuma Waza comes in for Bimota. And Gabriele Mini, and the other Bimota, continuing on. Could well be one of those doing the one stop here. Steph Dusseldorp has just posted a new fast lap of the race on a 1 minute 14.7. So surely the undercut is going to be very, very effective here. And that is McLaughlin behind Iyuma Iwaza, I think. No, it's not. He's actually a lap down, is McLaughlin. There we see pilot activity involving the top two. Nick de Vries and Gabriele Mini are in. We've got a new race leader of Joseph Newgarden, and that is Scott McLaughlin unlapping himself from El Bamba going into turn 1, which is not going to please El Bamba, to be honest with you, but McLaughlin is on the fresher tyres and he is allowed to do that. Racing Chris is also in for 40. Roman Grosjean has stayed out there in the Spiker. And that's Mini coming out just in front of Nick Cassidy in 14th position. Finally putting out in front of him, actually. And that's Igor Fraga running in 3rd place. How long will it be before the Chip Ganassis decide to come in? If they're not coming in at the end of this lap, then it feels like they are committing to a one stop. And there goes Scott McLaughlin, unlapping himself from current race leader Joseph Newgarden. There he goes. Newgarden decides not to fight that one. See the drivers who have already pitted starting to make their way through, and you can just see de Vries, who's now behind Hirakawa. So de Vries has got undercut by Hirakawa, but on fresher tyres de Vries goes back ahead of him. He's now also behind Pan and Herta. So through the 2 stoppers, Herta will be leading this. But as ever, everyone will be on their own strategy, including the likes of the 2 Chip Ganassis, who are most probably going to be the threat to the 2 stoppers in regards to the fight for the win. And that's 3 wide coming down the pitch lane. There goes Pan, who's having to tuck back in. And that is Luke Browning going through on what looks like the 40 there of Antonio Giovinazzi. He couldn't quite get through. I think it might have been Philip Salaquada that's got through. Got mixed up there between the liveries of Sax Speed and Simtech from that particular angle. De Vries has got by Giovinazzi, and Hirakawa is ahead of Pan, so Pan's lost out on this lap by being held up in the traffic. And there we see Herta going through on Sho Suboi for 4th place. It's definitely safe to say Herta is probably going to be the likeliest to win this one. But it depends on where he feeds out in the traffic from when he completes his second stop later. The next driver who'll be overtaken will be Igor Fraga, who's over a couple of seconds up the road. But there are the two Chip Ganassis not tussling with each other. And there we see Nick Cassidy completing Opal's day. So we will not be getting another new team winning here. Oh, and someone else has pulled off further ahead. It might be Antonio Giovinazzi's retired. It is. Antonio Giovinazzi has pulled out of the race in the 40. 2 more cars gone from this. And let me guess, a gearbox failure on Giovinazzi. It is a gearbox failure, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if the same was said for Cassidy. So, yeah, 2 gearbox failures at the same time. We're on that 22 out of 50. 8 drivers gone from this so far. Scott McLaughlin will move up to 18th through those retirements. It's likely he's going to end up finishing in last position, is McLaughlin, but you never know. If he can just keep going, he might just scrape a point out of this. You can see more drivers coming into the pit lane. Philip Salaquada is the latest. There goes Colton Herta on Igor Fraga for 3rd place on the road. It's vital that he gets on with this because he's got De Vries closing him down, and Sho Suboi has run wide at turn 2. Now, was that through contact? Or was that through an unforced error? Well, De Vries got through ahead of him first. Sho Suboi came back. Yeah, that was all by himself. He locked up. Did the Mazda. Front of Pan is down to 8th place on the road. It's Sho Suboi. So Kieran McGinley is going to be a very happy man seeing his 2 drivers 1st and 2nd. Previous race winners, of course. El Bamba and Joseph Newgarden raced as teammates at Leighton House in season 4. They were also teammates at Jaguar in season 5. Now we're starting to see a pit stop for Joseph Newgarden. He's the first to blink. At the end of lap 23. Likely to be a 1-stop for him. El Bamba remains out there for at least 1 more lap. Now through the undercut, Newgarden is going to be swamped by the field by the time he comes back out. Roman Grosjean is also in for Spiker. Felix Rosenquist has dropped down to 14th place as Ewan Wesser got by him at turn 1. You can see the traffic absolutely bunched up now towards the back end of the points and just outside of it. And McLaughlin retires in the Mazda. A lonely race has ended in 2 non-finishes out of 3 for him. Igor Fraga running in 4th, now on the road, just in front of Rio Hirakawa, and Yiafi spins in the Prema. He spun. Oh, he just missed Iyuma Iwaza. Rosenquist got through on Iwaza. That was the only Prema driver left in the race. Oh, that was so close. There's been contact between the Prema and the Promoter. Yiffy gets going again. Now, you can just see positions changing left, right, centre. It looks like the Promoter is not going very quick at the moment. That's Gabriel and Mini, who's really, really struggling. And Steph Dusseldorp comes in. This is his second stop of the race. DeFries on to third place, Hirakawa fourth. Luke Brennan's overtaken Sho Suboy for 7th place. Salaquada holding up Roman Grosjean. Grosjean will have the upper hand through the final corner. Out of the last corner, and then we see DeFries in P3. Chasing Herta, who's determined to pick up that first Grand Prix World Series win. DeFries has won on 4 occasions. Steph Dusseldorp holds the point for the fastest lap right now for Zach Speed in only his 3rd race. Here's Pato Award on the tail of Sho Suboy. And Igor Fraga is now in for Ram. Ward ducks in and out behind Sho Suboy. Further back, he's up into 12th. He's going to the end, is Newgarden, on the 1 stop. So by the time everyone else ahead of him comes in for their final stops, he'll be in the lead. Something like 40 seconds for a pit stop round here, strangely enough. So those on the 2 stops are going to have their work cut out to try and remain in the positions and have the upper hand over those on the 1 stop. Old Bamba is in from the lead, so that hands the lead back to Colton Herta. DeFries is up to 2nd place, and Hirakawa is 3rd and Pam 4th. And that is Mini. Well, Iwaza going through on Rosenquist, and Iwaza's going to go through on Mini at the same time. So Iwaza is the latest to be on the move. One of 6 rookies this season. Higuro Iwaza. And that is Igor Fraga in 16th place. He's just pitted. He's heading through on Philip Salaquada. Roman Grosjean is the next driver he'll be chasing. In 2nd place behind Herta. Out of the last corner, and he's in the slipstream. He's going to go for it. Nick DeFries side by side with the spiker, and it's the Dutchman who heads on through. Nick DeFries leads the lead to Curitiba Grand Prix on lap 28. Herta just couldn't really hold him back for much longer. Is Mike Gillespie going to celebrate a first Grand Prix World Series win at last? He's been around since season 2. Sho Suboy is coming in for his last stop. Might be an unscheduled one, thinking of it. Either way, that'll drop him down to the back of the pack. 17 drivers left in the race. Oh, that's a broken front wing. Is that Herta? I think it is. Colton Herta has broken his front wing at the S's. Not good news for Ben Hackerson. So Herta's going to have to come in for a change of front wing. Will he put more fuel in? If he puts more fuel in, it'll save him having to pit later. And Newgarden is out. Newgarden has retired in the Chip Ganassi. The man who was destined to take the lead once everyone had pitted is not going to be doing so. He is gone from this race. It's advantage El Bamba. Herta will rejoin, probably down towards where Roman Grosjean is. Seats now a Toyota 1 and 2. De Vries ahead of Hirakawa. And Grosjean's going to go through on Herta, I think, actually. He is through, so Grosjean is ahead of Herta, but Herta will be on better tyres to Grosjean. So if I was Spiker, I would say to Grosjean, let Herta go by now. Hirakawa in P2. Of the last corner of Vitoria. There goes Herta on Grosjean. Grosjean holds him up. This is not helping the team's race one bit here. Behind Herta now is Igor Fraga. Now, I want to know whether Herta actually put more fuel in from the last stop. Goes Herta now on Grosjean, but it took a little bit too long. He lost more time than otherwise, really. El Bamba's overtaken Yiffy whilst we were watching that. He's up into 9th on the road. So really now it's between Chip Ganassi and Toyota to win this. I Am Dames have yet to pick up a Grand Prix World Series win. They haven't even finished on the podium yet in over a season. And that is Bamba going by. Felix Rosenquist. Iyumi Iwasa came in for his last stop. Grosjean will go on by. So Iwasa will fall to the back of the field. And that's Fraga going past Grosjean now. For position. And that's Salaquada running wide. And well, he's trying to keep his car on the circuit, to be honest with you, is the Czech Republican. Hirakawa 7 seconds off the lead from De Vries. As they both come around to complete their 31st lap out of 50. There's Bamba on the inside of Gabriele Mini. Now El Bamba has tasted victory in the Grand Prix World Series a number of times already now. To be exact, he's won 4. He won 2 last season at Jaguar, and he won 2 the season before at Leighton House. Rosenquist is the latest to come in for his last stop. Bamba's last victory came in round 12 of the season in Pärnu. In season 5, that is. Now Nick de Freeze's last win. Came in season 4, and off goes Salaquada in the attack speed. He had Show Suboy behind him. And this is over at the right-hander of the De Miolo. And yeah, he just went too far deep. He went too deep there. And Nick de Vries is in for his last stop from the lead. De Vries' last win came at the season opener of Hikaru Pagua in season 4 when he was racing for Andretti. There we see Hirakawa in the lead now. Pan in second place. O'Ward is also in for Ram. De Vries rejoins behind Igor Fraga in 9th position. So Bamba is up to 4th place ahead of Mini. One of those doing the one stop. Roman Grosjean is expected to go to the end. Herta is expected to go to the end. So by the time the two stoppers have been in, it will be Bamba leading Herta, leading Grosjean most likely, although De Vries is ahead of Grosjean. So it'll be Bamba, Herta, and Fraga, because Fraga is already pitted now. De Vries is ahead of him because he's just got by him at the S's. De Vries has got to make up all this time on Herta and Bamba. Luke Browning comes in for Simtech. 17 laps to go in this Lead 2 Curitiba Grand Prix. Ryu Hirakawa is your current race leader, but by the time he and Pan have pitted, one stopper Earl Bamba will be the one favourite for the win. Hirakawa getting the hammer down at the moment. It won't be too long before he's heading in for his last stop. Is heading in for his last stop. Is Pan doing the same on this tour? She is. It's going to take some doing for Pan to get onto the podium. So Earl Bamba leads the race. Gabriele Mini is choosing to stay out there in second place. Hertz will move up to third because Yuyefi has also come in for Prema. De Vries has posted a new fast lap of the race with a 1 minute 14.6. 5.8 seconds the margin at the beginning of that between Bamba and Mini. Von Herta is run about 10 seconds behind race leader Bamba. And that's Pan coming out of the pit lane. She's now behind both Luke Browning and Pato Ward, although she had to get her elbows out there, and fair play to her. Luke Browning did only just pit, so Pan's going to find it even more difficult to finish on the podium today. You can see Hertz closing in on Mini ahead. It won't be too long before Mini decides to head in. And Grosjean has picked up an issue in the spiker, and his eventful race is going to end with him on the sidelines. He's out of the race again. Well, it's his first retirement of the season. That's Spiker's first as well. So the race winner of Aruba goes no further, and it's a suspension issue this time and not a gearbox. Gabriele Mini in from second place, and he's going to fall out of the points by the time he rejoins. So it allows Hertz to move up into second position. Now Hertz pitted not too long after Bamba because Hertz did nurse well, he had front wing damage, didn't he? And yes, hence why he had to come in prematurely for his second stop. So it's going to really come down to whether Nick de Vries can get by him at a rate of knots. Well, he is coming at him at a rate of knots. And there they are in your picture. Less than 2 seconds between them. Herta in second place, de Vries in third. It's been 2 seasons since de Vries' last win. Herta has never tasted victory. Earl Bamber's last win came in Parnu last season. And there we see the reigning Grand Prix World Series champion Felix Rosenqvist angling for points at the moment. Hirakawa's posted a new fast lap of the race at 1:14.5. Toyota are very much coming into their zone now. Whilst Pan is heading on by Rosenqvist, who's a sitting duck to the Iron Dames. So Pan moves back into the points again. That's a 1 second clear over de Vries. The gap is now down to 4/10. It's inevitable that de Vries is going to go past Herta here. He needs to get by him on the pit straight. He may even try and go for it now, but this is not the best place to do it. It's too quick of a corner to get the overtake done, but that doesn't stop de Vries from nailing the move, going by Colton Herta, and second place goes to the Dutchman. The Herta will be in the slipstream to come back at him. De Vries has made the move 6, so he is through into second place. With 13 laps remaining, he's got 8 seconds to make up on Earl Bamber. The race for the win is well and truly on. Ryo Hirakawa, who's continuing to set fast laps. He's now just under 12 seconds behind Colton Herta by the time he goes through sector 1. There's also been a change further down the field. It looks like Yumi Iwaza has fallen behind Luke Browning. Here is the battle that's going on. There's multiple cars going by him. That's Sho Subai going past Yumi Iwaza. Oh, you can see Browning running wide at turn number 4. He just about made it there. And now Iwaza's going back on Sho Subai. So we've got 2 Japanese drivers tussling over 8th position. And you can see de Vries' gap to Bamber has come down to less than 6 seconds. It's 5.4. He took something like 2.8 seconds out of Bamber's lead on the last lap alone. And now Luke Browning is heading by Steph Dusseldorp, who was a sitting duck. So he lets the Simtek go on by. There's surely no way that Earl Bamber is going to hold on to the lead here. De Vries is just too quick here. "15 drivers left in the race. Philip Salaquada is running in 15th and last position. Not able to do anything about any of the cars in front, so he's going to have to hope for more to drop out of this before this one's over. He is on the lead lap though, at least. And Herta, well, he'll be ruining that error that saw him having to come in prematurely for a second pit stop. And I think he may have to switch his attention to Ryo Hirakawa, because Hirakawa is also going at a rate of knots, just as Nick de Vries has been doing. And that's the Bamota running wide. The S's, that was Iyumi Iwaza. If he continues going up that kind of rate, he may end up becoming an obstacle to the other drivers behind. And as we see Herta running about 4 seconds behind de Vries now, continuing to drop back from him, and less than 7 clear of Ryo Hirakawa with 11 laps remaining. Igor Fraga's having another terrific race as well in the Ram. He's on the 1 stop. He's made no such problems, or no such mistakes so far. And he's running in 5th position. Sho Subai has fallen down to 11th position. Pan has moved up to 9th. the latest to be on the tail of the promoter of Ayumu Iwasa ahead. Now we look at El Bamba, whose lead is going to be around about a second, if not less than that, as they go over the line. Just under that. So De Vries is within range to attack on this lap. So, boy, holding up O'Ward, Mini and Rosenquist. Neither of them are inside the points. And Suboy is going to find it tough to keep them back. O'Ward goes through at Vittoria. And it won't be too long before Mini and Rosenquist do the same. Gap coming down to half a second between Bamba and De Vries. We need to go to that battle. Pan overtakes Iwasa for 8th. And Mini gets by Suboy at last for 12th. It's come down to less than 2 tenths between Bamba and De Vries. And here they are. The Toyota all over the back of the Chip Ganassi, but he runs wide at the S's, so that's going to cost him time. But there'll be plenty more opportunities for De Vries to send it. Most ideally on the pit straight. Herta is falling back into the clutches of the second Toyota of Ryo Hirakawa. 9 to go. De Vries is almost there. He's got Bamba within his sights. It's a 5th Grand Prix World Series win going to be in the way of Nick De Vries. Out of turn number 3 they come. Bamba and De Vries are just as close as what they were when they were going through the S's before De Vries made that error. 3 tenths is the margin. Is De Vries going to go for it? He hasn't quite done it yet at turn 4. He might just do it on the pit straight next time around. Hirakawa is also all over the back of Herta, as we can see Rosenquist go through on Sho Suboy for 13th place. Back to the leaders again. De Vries will try once more. And it's important that De Vries gets by here because Hirakawa is going at a rate of knots further back. And there goes De Vries on Bamba for the lead of the League 2 Curitiba Grand Prix. Nick De Vries has made the 2-stop work, and Toyota are 8 laps away from their maiden Grand Prix World Series victory, and also the first for Mike Gillespie in his 5th season as a Grand Prix World Series team manager. It's about to get even better because Ryo Hirakawa is going to send it on Colt Herta to move up into the final podium position. 2 Toyotas in the top 3. Hirakawa is not done yet. Can he go after El Bamba and make it a Toyota 1 and 2? Certainly been a race of strategy again. It was the one stop that was the way to go when we came here at the back end of season 3. It feels more so like it's the 2 stoppers that have had the upper hand in this. Hirakawa is less than 9 seconds off El Bamba, so he needs to take over a second out of him on each lap on average to have any hope of finishing in 2nd place. But this result will most certainly do for Mike Gillespie after all the heartache he's had to suffer. Toyota finished last season rock bottom. As it stands, Spiker will stay in the lead of the team's championship, but Toyota will move up into 2nd place for sure. Further back we can see Igor, so that's Pato Award attacking Ayumu Iwasa on the pit straight. And he goes through into 11th place. And Doyen Pan also has Yuffie in her sights. And Pan has passed Yi, as has Mini. Has Yi made a mistake and he's told me down. Oh, he's had another spin, has Yi Iffy. It gets worse for Alex Johnston's Prema team. 2 360s. And he's down to 14th. The gap between Bamba and Hirakawa has come down to less than 7 seconds with 6 laps left. Herta has enough of a margin over Browning to keep hold of 4th position. Lucy Bassendale took his first Grand Prix World Series win as a team manager in Road America. Ben Hackerson took his first win as a Grand Prix World Series team manager in Aruba. Is Mike Gillespie going to be celebrating his first win as a Grand Prix World Series team manager here in Curitiba? This will be Toyota's first. He's coming around to complete his 45th lap. He's got 5 laps to hold on here. Ryu Hirakawa has got the gap down on Bamba to 6 seconds with only 5 laps to go. So I think he's going to struggle to close in on him at the moment. I think O'World may be running into issues in the ramp because he's just allowed Yumu Iwaza to go through quite easily. So it looks like he's going to need some attention in the pit lane. We'll find out more on that in a moment. Oh, and Rosenquist goes off the circuit! And I can see why O'Ward was struggling. It's because his car's on fire. Now, Rosenquist is out of the race. And O'Ward will be in a moment. Oh, that's a big off there for Rosenquist, but that was caused by O'Ward not pulling off sooner. Rosenquist retires on the spot. The car is terminally damaged. There may be some words after. At least that allows Philip Salaquada to move up a couple of positions. O'Ward pulls off at turn 1. And we'll see what the stewards say on that, because you may argue that Rosenquist could have avoided it, but the problem is it's a high-speed section of the course to navigate your way around. Bamba has stayed in touch with De Vries despite the fact that De Vries is on fresher rubber. That might just have cemented second place for the Chip Ganassi driver. But this will be a first podium in the Grand Prix World Series for team manager Kieran McGinley. It's going to be a race of firsts here, as we see the race winner of Road America, Gabriele Mini, run wide. That won't have helped his cause there. And Bamba slows in the Chip Ganassi! I cursed it! No points for Chip Ganassi here. Hirakawa is through into second place. Herta is through into third. It's game over for Al Bamba. Another gearbox failure. And then there were 12. De Vries is 3 laps away from Renault Toyota's first win, and Hirakawa is 3 laps away from Renault, the team's first ever 1-2. Luke Browning is now 4th, Igor Fraga up to 5th, Steph Dusseldorp on course for his best result so far in only his 3rd Grand Prix Series race in 6th. Gabriele Mini and Iyuro Iwasa are about to get both of the promoters in the points in 7th and 8th. Dorian Pan will be 9th. She'll be disappointed with that, in my opinion, after being on pole. And Sho Suboi is inside the points for Mazda in 10th. He'll be in a battle with Yifi in the battle for that. As you can see, Philip Salaquada just running wide a little bit on the exit of the last turn. Not long to go now. The closest battle is between Pan and Iwaza, and Pan's just got by Iwaza for 8th. And the second spiker is out! Colton Herter has slowed at the last turn! What a nightmare for team manager Ben Hackerson! And it's going to be Luke Browning through into 3rd place and on course for 2 podiums in a row. Horrible luck for Spiker. Maximum points last time in Aruba. It's Nerpois here in Curitiba. The way things are going, Spiker will stay in the lead of the team's championship. But they'll just be 1 point clear over Toyota, who will move up into 2nd. Things are opening up in the race for promotion, that is absolutely sure, as Nick de Vries is coming round to begin his final lap of the race. Ryuhiko is 7 seconds behind. What a race we've been treated to again. The Grand Prix World Series never fails to entertain. And what a moment this will be for Mike Gillespie. After managing the likes of Midland, Super Aguri, Tolman, before switching allegiances to Toyota at the beginning of Season 5, he's not had a lot to celebrate, but today it's going to be a day to remember for him. And Toyota are about to get their first ever win in the Grand Prix World Series, courtesy of this man. He's about to take his 5th career win and his first for 2 seasons. Nick de Vries powers out of the last corner to win the lead to Curitiba Grand Prix. It's Toyota's first win in this championship and the first for Mike Gillespie. The drought is over. He can celebrate. Ryo Hirakawa rounds up the team's first ever 1-2 in 2nd place. And it's going to be 2 podiums in a row for Luke Browning and for Simtech. Another podium for team manager James Knox. Eagle Fraga comes home in 4th place for Ram. Another good result for him. And it's the best result for Steph Dusseldorp and for Saxspeed. That's going to mean a lot to Chris Hosey. A good result for him. Gabriel Mini 6th. Dorian Pan in 7th place after being on pole. Iyumu was at 8th. Sho Suboi picking up a couple of points from Mazda in 9th. And Yifi does pick up a point after all for Prema in 10th place. The last driver to finish will be the Saxspeed of Philip Salaquada. It's a win for Nick de Vries, the first for Toyota, and the first for Mike Gillespie. They are victors here in Curitiba. Ryo Hirakawa 2nd, ahead of Luke Browning. Igor Fraga 4th. Steph Dusseldorp with his best result so far in 5th. Gabriel Mini 6th. Dorian Pan in 7th place. And it's Yuri was at 8th. Zhou Suboi 9th. And Yifi rounding up the top 10 for Prema. The final driver to finish in P11 to take the checker flag was Philip Salaquada. Colton Herter, Earl Bumber, Patrick Ward and Felix Rosenquist all classified as finishers in 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th. Roman Grosjean didn't finish. He's not classified. Neither is Joseph Newgarden, who could have been the victor today. Scott McLaughlin also out, along with Antonio Giovinazzi, and Nick Hassey also retired in the Opel. Jamie Chadwick retired also in the Iron Danes. Mick Schumacher, Dan Tixon, Mitch Evans, Leo Fornarelli and Sebastian Ogier were the rest of those to not finish. The pole position point going to Dorian Pan, and the fast lap going to the man that's finished in 2nd place, Ryo Hirakawa. Another League 2 race and another team manager who celebrates their first win. Mike Gillespie is the latest. He'll be absolutely elated with this result after over 4 seasons with hardly anything to be chuffed about. It's been a day to remember for the Scotsman. And also for Nick de Vries, who ends his winning drought, his first win since the League 2 Hikora Pagua Grand Prix in Season 4. And Toyota finally hit the jackpot here in the big time. They are now up to 2nd place in the team's championship, just 1 point behind Spiker, who had a day to forget. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, well, it certainly changes hands again. With Nick de Vries taking that win, he leapfrogs everyone and is now the new championship leader. Toyota lead both the Drivers' and Teams' Championships after the first 3 rounds of the season. It's time to run down on the League 2 Drivers' and Teams' Championships in the voice of Topher Smith. We'll be back for the League 1 race very, very shortly.
So our 3rd different winner in 3 races. What a start to the season it has been. And a special congratulations to Michael Gillespie, his first win in the Grand Prix World Series as a team manager. He's been around for a long time, since Season 2. That has been a long time coming. So Mike, well done to you, and it was a 1-2 finish to cap it off. But what has that done to the driver standings? Let's take a quick look. Nick de Vries, with his victory today, moves to the head of the standings on 39 points. 6 ahead of Gabriele Mini, who moves back up into 2nd, adding on to his points from his win at Road America. Roman Grosjean 3rd in the Spiker, having not scored today, ahead of Luke Browning in the Simtek, who moves up into 4th on 30 points with his 2nd podium in a row. Colton Hurt is down to 5th ahead of Igor Fraga in the Ram on 29 points. Yeyefe on 27, Ryo Hirakawa on 19, Felix Rosenquist on 14, and Jamie Chadwick rounding out the top 10 on 12. And in the teams, it has really closed things up this race. Spiker, with a non-score today, stays on 59 points, but 1 ahead of Toyota, who shoot up into 2nd place on 58 with their 1-2 finish today. Bimotor KLT 3rd on 37, ahead of Ram on 35, Simtek on 30, Prema on 27. Iron Dames, they had a chance for a good result today, but only came away with a handful of points. 19 points for the Italian team, ahead of 40 Corsa on 15, Mazda on 12, Zach Speed also on 12, and then Chip Ganassi on 4, Opel on 1, and M Sports with another double retirement today. It's been a horrible start to the season for Lorenzo Turi's team, but they will be looking to get themselves onto the scoreboard at the next round in Potrero de los Funes. And with that, we can move on to League 1, and let's remind ourselves of the standings heading into today. Alex Palou leading the championship on 32 points, ahead of Jamie Whincup on 25, and John Eric Byrne also on 25. Those 2 drivers are our 2 race winners so far this season. Shane van Gisbergen, the reigning League 2 champion, 4th on 21, ahead of Yuki Tsunoda and Marcus Ericsson, the 2 Fomitals, on 18 and 16 points each. Ayhanchen Guven 7th in Lancia on 15, ahead of Philip Hansen, Nick Tandy and Kamui Kobayashi, rounding out the top 10 after the first 2 rounds. And in the teams, Fomital leading the way on 34 points, the only team to have 2 drivers inside of the top 10 in the championship as it stands. They are 2 points ahead of HRT on 32, Ducati on 31, Cooper Kiro on 27, Prost on 25, already having a much better start to the season than they did in Season 5. Lancia on 19 ahead of Onyx on 13, Minardi on 10, Force India on 8, Arrows on 7, and then currently in the relegation zone with no points to their names, Carlin, BAR and Jaguar looking to get themselves onto the scoreboard in this 3rd round of the championship. And so we can move on to the qualifying results and check out the grid for today. And just as in League 2, in League 1 we have a first-time pole sitter. Oliver Rowland has put it on pole position in the Cooper Kiro, 0.042 ahead of Raffaele Marcello in the Force India, very close between those 2. Ayhanchen Guven 3rd in the Lancia ahead of Carl Kirkwood in the HRT. Alessio Rivera puts both Lancias into the top 5. Alex Palou, our championship leader, is 6th ahead of Will Power, Jamie Whincup, Kamui Kobayashi and Scott Dixon, the 2-time champion, starting from 10th today. Philip Hansen 11th in the Onyx ahead of Sebastian Buemi in the BAR. Marcus Ericsson 13th alongside Shane van Gisbergen. Kevin Estra, a bit of a disappointing start to the season for him. He will be looking to score some strong points today from 15th on the grid. Yuki Tsunoda 16th ahead of Robin Freins. who's very disappointed to be 17th on the grid, considering that his teammate is on the front row. Kalle Rovanperä 18th ahead of Nick Tandy, and Stoffel van Dorn rounding out to the top 20 in the Carlin. And at the back, Brendan Hartley, John Eric Verne, our winner from last time out, very disappointed to be 22nd today. Max Gunter 23rd ahead of Antonio Fix da Costa, Kevin Magnussen 25th in the Carlin, and propping up the field is Valentino Rossi in the BAR, a second and a half off of Oliver Rowland's pole time. Very disappointing for the Italian racer there. So can Oliver Rowland capitalise on his pole position to give Cooper Kiro its second win of the season? There's only one way to find out, and that's by handing back to Tom Cairns in the commentary box, waiting to get this League One race up and running. So Tom, let's hand it back to you.
Cooper Kiro at the head of the field, courtesy of Oliver Rowland, with Rafael Marcello alongside, with podium finisher of Aruba, Ayhan Guven waiting to pounce. Lights are coming on now. Lights off, it's go! It's a good start from the front two, but what about those behind? Ayhan Guven will get the slipstream effect all the way down to turn number one. Rowland on the inside for a moment, but it's Rafael Marcello who's moved up from second place into the lead, so it's the Force India out in front with Rowland in second place, Guven third. It's Will Power up into fourth position, and then it's Kyle Kirkwood in the HRT in fifth place, followed by Jamie Whincup, the winner of Road America, in sixth. Sebastian Buemi in the BAR 7th, it's Alessio Rivera, Kamui Kobayashi and Alex Blow running out the top 10. Doesn't appear to be like there's been many incidents throughout the opening sequence of corners. Drivers behaving themselves around this Curitiba course. Now, are Force India going to come away with victory this time? The last time they did was in Season 3 at the finale at Laguna Seca. That's their only win in the Grand Prix World Series so far, with Ed Spencer at the helm. And that's Will Power in the Minardi coming through, or so he thought, and the same with Sebastian Buemi as he attempts to get by Jamie Whincup at the last corner, but he's having to hold back. But there we see Marcello in the lead, and we're right on board with Alex Blow, side by side with Kamui Kobayashi. And we should see the HRT going through. That's Will Power going by Ayhan Guven, third place in the foreground. Plo heading through on Kobayashi at the same point. Kyle Kirkwood in fifth position, heading by Ayhan Guven at turn number 4. And we've got Kevin Estra in the pit lane for Onyx, so it's not been a good start to his race, or his season in fact, Kevin Estra. And there we see the front two. On the second lap, Rowland keeping up with Marcello. And Rowland has yet to taste victory in the Grand Prix World Series. Can he change that here? And further back we can see the Lancia just behind the BAR of Sebastian Buemi, who is heading past Jamie Whincup, and that's Guven coming back on Kirkwood at turn number 1 at the same time. Now, Oliver Rowland's finished on the podium on 2 occasions in his career. Rafael Marcello took his first and only win, which incidentally came at the season finale of Season 3 at Laguna Seca for Force India, which sealed their promotion to League One. We look at Rivera in 8th position. Lancia have had a strong start to life in League One, as have Cooper Kiro. The only promoted team that have yet to get their campaign going are Jaguar. Max Gunter running in 15th position. Kalle Rovanperä is further down the order. Rivera behind Whincup again. Surely he'll have the slipstream effect to go on through, which will give us the opportunity to run down on the setups for the teams. Ducati, mid-top speed. Onyx, maximum top speed. The same for Arrows. Fomatel and HRT, mid-top speed. Minardi, maximum top speed. BAR and Force India, mid-top speed. Prost maximum top speed, Carlin mid top speed, Kubrick Hero neutral, Jaguar maximum top speed, and Lancia maximum downforce. And that's Kyle Kirkwood, who's going to be the first driver to pull out of the race in the HRT. It's a terrible shame. That's 3 races and 3 non-finishes for Kyle Kirkwood. No points for him here. His teammate Alex Palou, championship leader coming into this one, is running in 8th position. Of course, there's plenty of drivers who could end up leading the championship after this. Then we look at Max Gunther, who's been overtaken by Marcus Ericsson. He's got the other Force India on his tail, that's Robin Friends. Contrast, Rafael Marcello is continuing to lead, just around about 7 cents clear over Oliver Rowland at the beginning of the lap. Scott Dixon has overtaken Alex Palou up into 8th position. Scott Dixon, who is an Arrows driver these days, so aiming to go for a 3rd Grand Prix World Series title. And Oliver Rowland is hoping that Kubrick Hero can be in the fight for the championship again. Von Mattel came into this one as the leaders, with HRT just 2 points off and Ducati a further point back in 3rd, so it's really, really close between those in the top 3, and you've got Kubrick Hero and Prost waiting in the wings. As we see Antonio Fitz da Costa running wide in the Prost. No damage done to his car. Johnny Verne is 1 position ahead of him in 20th. You never know what can happen. There's a long way to go, and those at the back of the field could end up in the points by the end of this. Now we can see Da Costa looking to go through. That's Kelly Rovanperä overtaking Mats Gunther further back. There goes Da Costa on Verne at turn number 1. And Jean-Luc Verne, who won last time out in Aruba for Prost. Hoping to build on that here, but it's going to be more difficult. It looks like the maximum top speed setup is not the way to go around here, as though a lot of the team managers had thought. Philip Hansen in the Onyx, running inside the top 10 behind Jamie Whincup. After the last corner, Hansen is attempting to go on through. Will Whincup decide to leave the space here? I think Hansen's going to have the upper hand this time because he's got his nose just about in front before they even get to the braking zone. And so Hansen overtakes Whincup and up to 9th. Oliver Rowland in 2nd position on lap 7. 1 second behind Marcello. Ayunchen Guven in 3rd place, continuing to make an impression in the Grand Prix World Series in his rookie campaign. But Alex Palou is going to complete HRT's miserable day by parking up with what looks like a gearbox failure. He will not be the championship leader after this. Two drivers gone from this race, both of them being the HRT. So it's a puncher actually, not a gearbox failure for Alex Palou. Back there we see Jamie Whincup is now back up into 9th. Has got Kamui Kobayashi going side by side with him on the pit straight. It's a drag race down to turn number 1. Through goes Kobayashi on the Kubrick Hero up to P9. Both of the Fomentels are outside the top 10. Marcus Ericsson in P12 and you can see further back outside the top 15. position between Marcello and Roland. It's Guven, Power, Boemi. There's Rivera up to 6th place, Dixon 7th, Hansen 8th, Kobayashi 9th, Jimmy Wink up 10th. Number 8 to be done by the leaders. Comparing the setups between Force India and Cooper Kiro. Force India running mid top speed and Cooper Kiro neutral. Further back we can see a change of opposition potentially. That's Marcus Ericsson, the League 2 Drivers' Champion of Season 3, going past Nick Tandy for 11th position. So he gets by there, does the Swede. Roland, second, keeping up with Marcello. It's Guven, Power, Boemi, Rivera, Dixon, Hansen, Kobayashi and Wink up. Van Gisbergen, the reigning League 2 Drivers' Champion, on the tail of Nick Tandy. Neither of them in the points yet, but of course there is a long way to go. I will remind you that the bottom 3 teams in League 1 will be heading down to League 2 next season. And the 3 teams in the bottom 3 are Carlin, BAR and Jaguar. Neither of them have picked up a point after the opening 2 rounds of the season. Carlin have got Topher Van Dorn running in 15th position. He's the highest of the Carlins. BAR have got Sebastian Boemi running in 5th position. Valentino Rossi is down towards the back of the field as well. Van Gisbergen going through on Tandy. And Ericsson's now in front of Winkup for 10th position. So I wonder if Ericsson may be on a lighter fuel low compared to those that might be doing the one stop. Jaguar have got both of their drivers outside the top 15. Max Gunter and Kalle Rovanperä. Oliver Rowland in 2nd place. He's done very well to stay in touch with Marcello actually, despite being on pole. As we saw, you have to have like 40 seconds for a pit stop around here. Marcello stays in front of Rowland. Guven is hoping to get Lance's first win in League 1. Picked up a win in League 2 last season at Campo Grande, courtesy of Yiffy. Engine Guven, who's the reigning DTM champion. He's enjoying life in the Grand Prix World Series so far. Retired in the closing laps in his debut at Road America, but responded beautifully with a podium in Aruba. Marcello leading Rowland. And then you've got Guven and Power not too far back, and it's Sebastian Boemi in the BAR in 5th position. Out of the last corner, it's Marcello still leads the way. And Rowland is right in the slipstream here at the Force India, and we're looking at a potential change for the lead of the League 1 Curitiba Grand Prix on lap 12. Rowland on the inside of Rafael Marcello, and the Brit goes on by. The reigning Formula League champion leads here in Brazil. One thing I haven't mentioned so far today is the calendar. We've already been to Road America and Aruba. Today is Curitiba, and it's remaining in South America at Potrero de los Funes, Argentina. We then go back to America for the Grand Prix of the Americas at Sebring, followed by Dijon-Bourgogne in France, which would be the first European round of the season, followed by Ricardo Tormo in Valencia, Spain. And it's off to Morocco at Marrakesh for round number 8, and it's Donington in the UK for round number 9, which will be the venue for the mid-season test involving each of the teams' reserve and test drivers to get a go in the cars. The second half of the season will commence at Hockenheim, Germany. Then it's off to Anderstorp, Sweden. Then it's Mugello in Italy. That will be the venue for the Grand Prix of Europe. We then go to Vietnam in Hanoi, which will kickstart the Asian leg. And it's to Sepang, Malaysia, Buram, Thailand. And it's the Grand Prix of Asia in Japan, Motegi. The final 2 rounds of the season will be in Phillip Island, Australia. And it's Manawatu, New Zealand for the finale. And before I go on more about the calendar, we've got a retirement for Kalle Rovanperä, who has suffered an engine failure in the Jaguar, and that's a terrible shame. He's had a difficult time of it within the team, a difficult start, and Jaguar are not going to really have a lot of budget to really spend on where they're going to place it on brake horsepower, downforce and reliability. But Kalle Rovanperä is the 3rd driver out of the race on lap number 13. After we've done the championship races, we go to the non-championship rounds in Macau, involving the 13 highest scoring teams across the 2 leagues. Rovanperä retires with what looks like an engine failure, but we're just waiting for confirmation, and it is an engine failure for Rovanperä. Not too far away from pit stops either. Stoffel van Dorn is going by Robin Freins for position. The Carlin now up into 14th. Guven, meanwhile, is on the tail of Rafael Marcello. Now turn number 6. Through the S's again, and now you can just see how close he is to the Force India. Now if he could just hold back and not go for it the last turn, which is what he's trying to do, but this will cost Guven time. But now he's going to have another go on Marcello on the pit straight. We're looking at a potential change for 2nd position. Hyunjin Guven in the Lancia. We'll have the inside line for turn number 1. And Guven goes through into 2nd place. A great move there from Chris Cavani's driver. And we've got the first scheduled pit stop underway over at Onyx. Philip Hansen is in. He was running in 8th position, I believe, just in front of Marcus Ericsson. But he's in now. Have some clear track ahead of him when he comes back out. Stoffel van Dorn is also in for Carlin, as is Antonio Felix da Costa. Then we look at Oliver Rowland. How quick can Guven catch up to him? It looks like the pit stops are underway. At the head of the field, Rowland is in from the lead. And Hyunjin Guven is going to lead a Grand Prix World Series race for the first time. Poet has come in also for Minardi. And there goes Antonio Felix da Costa on Philip Hansen. Which is interesting because Hansen came in long before da Costa did. Now, is that Onyx running into issues? That could well explain why he's allowed the Prost to go on by. We've got plenty of drivers in the pit lane. We've got Magnussen, we've got Ericsson in. Tandy's also in. Oliver Rowland will come out behind Valentino Rossi in 15th. He's out in some clean air as well. Is the Brit, which will help him later. We've got 2 Lanciers in the top 3 now because Alessio Rivera is in 3rd place. Scott Dixon 4 for Arrows. It's Kamui Kobayashi and the Minardi in 5th. Just waiting for more pit stops to arrive on this lap. It's inevitable we'll get at least 1 or 2 more here. And one of which is Rafael Marcello, who comes in a lap after Oliver Rowland. So it's now a Lancia 1 and 2. Marcello will rejoin behind Rowland. It's inevitable that he will be. Yuki Tsunoda also in for Fomatel, another one of those who finished on the podium 2 weeks ago in the Caribbean. And Will Power might just get the jump on Marcello. Power came in the lap before. And Power is heading through on Marcello, is he? No, he's not. Vitally important that Marcello got in front of Power by the time he came back out of the pit lane. Now, Oliver Rowland is coming up to go by Valentino Rossi. He doesn't make it difficult for him. And Da Costa is going to make it 3 races and 3 non-finishes for him. And it's a rear suspension failure that forces the Prost to retire. There's a long way to go in the season, but Da Costa is not having the best time of it in the hope he will become Grand Prix World Series champion at last. And Alessio Rivera is also slowing in the Lancia from 2nd place. Through goes Scott Dixon, but Rivera is out. It's the first time he's failed to finish a Grand Prix World Series race. And he's the latest to pull out. What a shame. It was a loose wheel on the rear right for the Italian. Gearbox failure is the cause for Rivera to drop out. So Chip Guven is now coming in for Lancia, the only one left in the race. And Rowland going through on Magnussen. Scott Dixon is also heading for the pit lane in the Arrows, which will allow Kamui Kobayashi to go into the lead. Cup will go through into 2nd. And Rowland has slowed in the Cooper Kiro. He's just missed pit entry. It's game over for the Brit. After being on pole, Oliver Rowland retires from the race. He just stops. Couldn't tell where he got over the line or not, but it doesn't matter anyway. Gearbox failure, sidelines the Cooper Kiro. And to my count, we've lost 6 drivers. We've lost Oliver Rowland, we've lost Alessio Rivera, Antonio Felix da Costa, Kalle Rovanperä, Alex Palou, and Kyle Kirkwood. We're on lap 19. Kobayashi leading for now. And there we see Rafael Marcello going through on Tronic Verne, who has yet to stop in this race. And it's more bad luck for Cooper Kiro team manager Ed Hunter. Jamie Whincup has slowed at exactly the same spot as where Oliver Rowland had pulled out. No, he just needs to be careful he doesn't cause any problems to the traffic that's going on by. It's pretty much out of everyone's way. It's game over for Jamie Whincup again. 2 non-finishes in a row after that brilliant victory in Road America. And the marshals aren't seen to his car yet. They should do so any second. And Kevin Estre comes in for his first scheduled stop. So Jamie Whincup becomes the 7th driver to retire. Made that 8 because Brendan Hartley is also out in the Arrows. And that's a terrible shame. He was running in 2nd place on the road before he has had to pull off. Rear suspension failure again. Not good for the Kiwi. His teammate Scott Dixon will go on by. We'll get an update as to where he is in the field. And that's Max Gunter locking up. And Whincup still hasn't got the car off the circuit yet. And now it is towed away. And it's a gearbox failure that sidelines the Australian. That's Hansen going through on Verne for 4th position. That was just after the yellow flag zone, I think, so you should be alright with that. Scott Dixon overtakes Van Don up to 9th on the road. Next driver who'll be chasing is Marcus Ericsson. So all fall into place for Ed Spencer and for Force India because Marcello, who has already stopped, is in 2nd place on the road, and Kamui Kobayashi, who looks like he's going to try and make the one-stop work, is in the lead. And there is Sebastian Buemi going by his former Prost teammate Sean Verne, or he attempts to. Guven and Ericsson are the next ones further back. But the thing is with Verne, he's got the maximum top speed setup on his car, which is what will help him stay ahead for a little bit, but I think he's going to be swamped by the likes of Ericsson and Buemi. Ericsson taking 2 in one go, or in fact 3 here, because he was behind Guven as well. So Ericsson leaping up from 8th to 5th. That was a superb overtake from the Swede who goes on by. That was a textbook overtake there. Well, triple overtake, I should probably say. But Ericsson is on the move up to 5th. There we see Guven. Dixon is next. And it's Stoff Van Dorn in 10th place. And there we see Kobayashi, who's got Kevin Estre right on his tail to unlap himself from the Japanese. There's no doubt in my mind that Estre will go on through. And Dixon heads past Guven. Now both have pitted. Tries to go through on Verne at the last corner, but fails to do so. Kobayashi comes in from the lead. Dixon overtakes Guven and Verne. He's now up into 6th place, but he'll losing that position to Ericsson. He'll have to work hard to get it back. Power now into 2nd place for Minardi. And then we see Kobayashi rejoining. Now behind Gunther, who has the inside for turn 1. We have Marcello in the lead, 4 seconds clear over the Australian. Pit stops done out of the way. Philip Hansen, who was the first driver out of all those in the 2-stop phase to pit in, has leapt up into 3rd place. And the trouble he's going to have now is that those who pitted in later will be on fresher rubber. And Jean-Luc Verne, who's held the field up for long enough, is also in at the end of lap 23. He's trying to make the one-stop work, which probably going to be the best chance for him to come away with a points finish, but with so many drivers out of the race already, 8 to be exact, There's still hope for the Frenchman. It's not going to be a repeat of his win in Aruba. He's carrying all across chances of coming away with a points finish on top of what they have come away with from Aruba last time out. Philip Hansen running in P3. Ahead of Boemi, ahead of Ericsson, Dixon 6th, then it's Van Dorn, Guven, Sonoda and Tandy. Guven in 8th, behind Van Dorn. Has been passed by Dixon on the straight. And Van Dorn has gone through ahead of Sonoda. Van Gisbergen getting by Tandy. So a lot of changes happening further on down the field as we speak. Minor ball off of Marcello. Force India have yet to win in League One since they came up from League 2 at the end of Season 3. Enjoying life at the top level. And Valentino Rossi is trying to get back on the lead lap. I think he's going to do so here, and this is going to cost Marcello time. Van Dorn in 8th, just in front of Sonoda, not for long. Van Dorn hasn't stopped yet in this race. Oh, he got hit though by Van Gisbergen! And he crashes out of the race. It looks like he's taking out Sandy as well. Both of the Ducatis are out. A huge accident on the exit, the last corner. Did Van Dorn intend to go in the pit lane? I'm not too sure. But Van Gisbergen ran into him and Tandy had nowhere to go. I think there's someone else involved in that. It looks like Robin Friends has got involved in that. So it was Tandy first who pulled off. I think it's just those two, in fact. So both Shane Van Gisbergen and Nick Tandy are out of the race. What are the stewards going to say on that then? Because that was a huge impact. No further action is going to be taken. Now that is subject to appeal. Now the team manager of Ducati is Sam Hull, who may try to reach to the stewards after the race. But either way, it's no points for Ducati here. And that's Scott Dixon has been held up by Philip Hansen. Down to 16 runners we go as we enter the second half of the race. And that is Dixon, who should go by Philip Hansen, passing his old team. Dixon in the arrows going through on the Onyx. Sebastian Buemi in 5th place now with Ericsson 6th, Guven 7th, it's Van Dorn, Sonoda and Friends up into the points. Kobayashi, if you remember, was one of those on the one stop, running in 11th place, 5 seconds off that battle. Now BAR, Carlin and Jaguar have yet to score so far this season. That could well change. Rowland has got the point for pole position, that's secure. He's also got the point for the fastest lap right now. Kobayashi is on the one stop. Mats Gunther, I believe, is also on the one stop. Kevin Magnussen and Jean-Luc Vergne also are. So they could have a role to play in how this race gets decided. Now, Jean-Luc Vergne has been off the pace so far in this one, as has Kevin Magnussen. I probably thought the one stop was going to be the way to go around here anyway, if they were to salvage any points, but given so many have fallen by the wayside up to this point, there's every chance they'll come away with something. Here's Scott Dixon, Grand Prix World Series' most successful driver, with 9 wins and 2 championships to his credit, coming in 3rd place for Arrow. So we see Ayunjin Guven on the tail of the Fonmetal of Marcus Ericsson. If the race was to finish as it is, Topher Marcello will be leading the championship by a point over Alex Palou. I mean, there's a long way to go with all the race strategy stuff still to be decided. That is Friens going through on Van Dorn for 9th place. The end of lap 29, and there is Marcello leading power, and Magnussen is on fire in the Carlin. And he's also the latest to retire. It's been a difficult start to the season for Kevin Magnussen. He is yet to come away with a points finish so far. He finished 12th in Road America, 14th in Aruba. It's a non-finish here. And Buemi is also out in the BAR. Another car from a team that have yet to score so far this season. It's unlikely they'll score points here. Buemi out with the puncher. 3 races and 3 non-finishes for him also. Down to just 14 runners. Mats Gunther in 11th place, Vergne up to 12th. And there's Guven behind Hansen. The fight for 4th position. And then we look at Marcello. Guven heading on by past Philip Hansen for 4th place. There is a pit stop going on further back involving Stoffel Van Dorn, who is in. He was at the back end of the top 10 before he came in, aiming to perform an undercut to get Perry Brown's team's season up and running. There's Dixon, who's closing in on power. Gap being 3 seconds between these two. The last round of pit stops are going to be rather interesting. It's highly doubtful that Kamui Kobayashi is going to win this race, because I think by the time Marcello and that come in, Kobayashi is going to be a sitting duck. And he's got Yuki Tsunoda in the way, which won't help his cause. If he can get into the slipstream, he'll sail on by, but he's lost time, pit stop, has Kobayashi. There's Estra running in 12th, ahead of Van Dorn, who's just pitted. There's Power. Gap being 5 seconds between Marcello and Power at the end of the 32nd lap. Ericsson's got by Hansen. Roman Fry's up in 7th place, Kobayashi 8th. Kobayashi won't not want to be stuck behind. Robin Fry, Yuki Tsunoda comes in for Fomatel. Tsunoda will rejoin round about where Stoffel Van Dorn is. And then we look at Estra, running wide on the exit of the last corner. Don't think any damage was done to the Onyx there. At least it goes by Tsunoda for now. We've got a pit stop over at Force India because Rafael Marcello is now in, as is Will Power. So Scott Dixon will lead for the first time this season as an Arrows driver. Philip Hansen is also in for Onyx, which will allow Marcus Ericsson through into 3rd place, Guven up to 2nd. Dixon can remain out there for as long as he can. He may be on fresher tyres compared to Marcello. Max Gunso is also in, so he was doing the 2-stop anyway. Marcello rejoins in 6th, Power 7th. Firm will go up to 8th for now. And Estra running wide at the last corner again. Needs to be careful doing that so he doesn't take any damage as a consequence. It's far from dusted for Rafael Marcello, because Kamui Kobayashi, who is one of those on the 1-stop, will be in the lead once the 2-stoppers have come in. Dixon now in. Guven will lead for a lap at least. Ericsson now in, so Kobayashi will move up into 2nd position. Robin Frines is also in. Now Armenard are going to take victory here. I think, to be honest with you, for Kobayashi, gap between him and Marcello has come down to less than 10 seconds. Watch the gap come down in a space of a lap. It was run about 9.7 at the beginning of this. It's come down to 8.8. Guven, meanwhile, is just getting on with his own job. He is due in again before this race is over. Valentino Rossi coming in for BAI. It's unlikely he'll be picking up any points. But Guven is in for his last stop from the lead. The gap between Kobayashi and Marcello is now 7 seconds in sector 2. 15 laps remaining. Kobayashi now in the lead. But Marcello's got the gap down to 5.4 seconds, so he was able to take something like 4.4 seconds out of Kobayashi on that last tour alone. That's how effective fresher tyres are around here, or have been today. Now Sonic Vern, who's on the one stop, is up to 5th place. It's unlikely, I think, he'll stay in the points by the time this race is over, unless we get any more drivers dropping out of this. Frines passes Sonoda for 10th. And Kevin Estre, who's in for his last stop, will rejoin, I think, just behind Valentino Rossi in 14th. Gap between Kobayashi and Marcello now down to 3.2. Marcello has taken 2.2 seconds out of Kobayashi's margin on this lap alone. Through goes Hansen on Vern for position. And Ericsson attempts to go by Vern at the last corner, but that move won't work. So Marcello has got the gap down to 1.7 seconds, which means he took 3.7 out of Kobayashi's lead on lap number 36. And we've got Van Dorn back in the pit lane with issues, and that's his hopes of points gone. Marcello getting the gap down to 1 second. He's on the rear of Kobayashi now, that's for absolutely sure. There he is, though. Now, Kevin Estre just unlapped himself from Kamui Kobayashi, which has helped aid Marcello's cause. There's certainly no way, I don't think, Kobayashi's going to hold on to this. As Marcello goes up the inside of Kobayashi at the last turn, he's not able to do it that time around. Out of the last corner they come. And Rafael Marcello is going to sail on by the Minardi. And is going to go through into the lead of the League One Curitiba Grand Prix on lap 38. It's Marcello through, and Will Power, who is also on the 2-stop, may have just been helped by his teammate, who has held Marcello a little bit more than Marcello would have liked. And Charlie Power is going to sail on by his teammate. Down the back straight towards turn number 4. Power is not able to get through yet, and needs to watch out for Dixon because he's not too far behind either. And Guven has passed Vern for P7 now. Vern is really struggling on the one stop. We expect Robin Frines, Yuki Tsunoda and Max Gunther to go by him before this race is over. There goes Frines on the Prost. And Power has passed Kobayashi for second. He did it at the S's, and that was all he needed. Power overtakes Kobayashi for second place. Can he go after Marcello for the win? Now, back markers could also get in the way, because there are 3 which Marcello could encounter before this race is over. And Dixon is also on the rear of Kobayashi on the pit straight. And Johnny Vern is just in front of Yuki Tsunoda. Dixon has passed Kobayashi as Tsunoda goes past Vern for 9th. Dixon through into 3rd place ahead of Kamui Kobayashi. We've got a potential 3-way fight for the win. And I don't think it'll be too long before Philip Hansen closes in on Kamui Kobayashi either. So, from being in the lead, Kobayashi could end up falling down towards the back end of the top 10. Marcello in the lead by 2.8 over Power. And that's Gunther going through on Vern, so Vern has dropped out of the points now. So he's going to have to hope for other drivers to hit into issues before this race is over. Will Power's last victory. Came at Laguna Seca, where he was crowned Drivers' Champion in Season 2, in League 2. Scott Dixon has tasted victory on 9 occasions. No one else has tasted more. The gap between Dixon and Power has come down to 1.6. See what the gap is when they head over the line. We're right on board with Marcello, who's coming out of the last corner, as will Power and Dixon. Remind you of the setups. Arrows, maximum top speed. Minardi, maximum top speed. And Force-India, mid-top speed. So the Force-India will be quicker in the corners compared to the Minardi and the Arrows. 10 laps to go. The gap between Power and Dixon is 1.5 seconds. Seconds between Kobayashi and Hansen. I think Hansen will have Kobayashi in his sights in the next couple of laps. And the gap between Power and Dixon has come down to just under 1.3. Approaching the end of lap 41. Not long left in this. Now down to just 1 second. It's a gradual reduction for Dixon, but once he gets into the slipstream of Power, that is when he'll decide to go for it. And Vern has come to a slowdown in the Prost. Is he able to get that car back to the pit lane? The answer is no. He is gone from this race. The race victor in Aruba is pulling out before the end from 11th place. De Costa had already pulled out earlier with suspension failure, and it's the same cause for Jean-Luc Verne this time on the front. Is now really under attack from Dixon here. It's less than a second between the pair of them. They've both got the same setups, remember. It's now 6/10 between Power and Dixon. If they start fighting, that will aid Marcello. And there we see Ericsson closing in on Hansen. And Ericsson is on the inside and goes through on Hansen into 5th place. Von Mattel came into this as the leaders in the Team Championship. It's likely they'll stay there. Ericsson can now go after Kobayashi, just as Dixon is with... and that's Kevin Estra trying to chase down Valentino Rossi for 13th, or 12th rather now. Power and Dixon out of the last corner. Dixon won't be close enough this time around. Ericsson will sail on by Kobayashi on the pit straight. Want to go to that battle. But Ericsson's through on the Minardi into 4th. And Hyunjin Guven has got through on Philip Hansen on this lap. There goes Estra on Rossi. They almost made contact now. Estra wrecks his front wing. He spins. And his hopes of points are down the drain now. I was worried as to how far away Marcello was to lapping him because he could have got held up. But Estra wrecks his front wing, spins. And he'll have to make another trip to the pit lane. It's been a low-key race for Estra. And that's Dixon on power at the last corner. Dixon very, very nearly did it. But like I say, if they keep fighting, that is going to allow Marcello to pull further and further away. But Dixon has come the closest he has been to power since he hunted him down. There is Scott Dixon on the inside of World Power for 2nd place. And the Kiwi is through. The 2-time champion has gone on by. And we see further about Guven with Kobayashi. The Lancia heads through into 5th. And it's Hansen, who's the next driver to pounce on the Minardi. It's not getting any better for Giacomo Pagliaro's team at the moment. Power does have enough in hand over Ericsson, so he should be fine from there. The question is, can Dixon go after Marcello for the win? He's got the gap down to 2.9 seconds. There are 5 laps to go when they cross over the line. I think Dixon's going to run out of time, to be honest with you. He got held up too much by Power. We're going to see an updated gap between the Force India and the Arrows. It's 2.9 still. But Dixon's engine has expired! Dixon from 2nd place is out! On lap 46, Power goes back into 2nd place. Dixon's hopes of a 10th Grand Prix World Series win has gone up in the same way as his engine has done here. Horrible luck for Marcus Johansson, the team boss. He pulls up in the same places where his teammate Brendan Hartley had retired earlier. It should be an easy run from here for Raffaele Marcello. Are Force India going to take their first win in League One? And there we see Marcus Ericsson into 3rd place now. Hyunjin Guven's on his tail though. Could it be 2 podiums in 2 races for the Turkish pilot? The newly promoted team are about to have a better day than anticipated. But the Lancia doesn't have the straight line speed. So that has helped Ericsson remain in front of Guven. Hansen and Kobayashi are next to each other. I think Hansen's already got by Kobayashi this time around. So all of the drama here has allowed Stoffel Van Dorn to move over to 10th place, Max Gunther up to 9th. Valentino Rossi is 1 position away for a point scoring position. BAR or another one of those teams who haven't scored yet. Kevin Estra, who's on fresher tyres, might try and go for a fastest lap. And Guven is still stuck behind Ericsson in the battle for the final podium position. look at Guven. He needs to try and stay in the slipstream until the last moment. He pulls out now. Has he pulled out too soon? He's through on Ericsson. Ayunchu Guven puts his Lancia up into 3rd place. And that's going to propel his team up the order in the team's championship. With Force India going about their business here, they'll move up into 2nd place in the team's championship behind Von Mattel. With the way things are going, it'll be Von Mattel leading the team's championship ahead of Force India. And in 3rd place is Lancia. Rafael Marcello has started the penultimate lap of the race, just 2 to go now. Willpower. He's about to come away with a 2nd place finish, which will propel him up into the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. The championship leader as it stands will be Rafael Marcello, your potential race winner. He'll only be leading by a point. It's going to be so close in terms of the Drivers' Championship. The upgrade window will open after this round as well to give the team managers a chance to upgrade their brake horsepower, downforce and reliability before we go to Potrero de los Funes, Argentina, in a couple of weeks' time. There goes Estra, who's trying to unlap himself from Robin Freins. And whilst he is allowed to do this, Estra won't want to run into Freins, who's chasing after Kamui Kobayashi. He'll go through on the pit straight, I think. But Rafael Marcello has started the final lap of the race in the Force India. It's been a rocky start to the campaign for Ed Spencer's team, but they've got it right here. And Rafael Marcello, who played an instrumental role in the team's pursuit for promotion in Season 3 with that win at Laguna Seca. It's taken some time for Force India to adapt to life, but they've maintained their position there, and they've not looked back since. Rafael Marcello has got just one more corner to get through. And it's going to be a long celebration into the night for Ed Spencer and for Force India. And it's going to be a 2nd Grand Prix World Series win for the man in your picture. Rafael Marcello powers down the pit straight to win the League 1 Curitiba Grand Prix. Another different race winner. It's 6 races from 3 rounds, and we have 6 different race winners. Willpower finishes in 2nd place for Minardi, and Ayunchu Guven makes it 2 podiums in 2 races for Lancia. Marcus Ericsson 4th, Philip Hansen holds off Kamui Kobayashi for 5th place. Kobayashi 6th, Robin Freins rounds out a great day for Force India in 7th. Yuki Tsunoda bags more points for Von Mattel in 8th. Max Gunther gets Jaguar's first points of the season in 9th. And the final point will go to Stoffel van Dorn. And Carlin are up and running in Season 6. The last driver on the lead lap will be Valentino Rossi in 11th place. Kevin Escher has already crossed the line, having pitted 4 times in this race, is in P12. Rossi came close, but not close enough. His first points of the season and BAR's first points of the season will have to wait a couple more weeks. It's a win for Rafael Marcello, his first of the season, Force India's first win in League 1, their 2nd in their entirety in the Grand Prix World Series. They win here in Curitiba. Will Power second, ahead of Hyunchun Guven in third place, Marcus Ericsson fourth, Philip Hansen in a strong fifth for Onyx, ahead of Kamui Kobayashi, Robin Fry seventh, Yuki Tsunoda in eighth, Mats Gunther bagging Jaguar's first points of the season in ninth, and Stoffel van Dorn getting Carlin's first of the campaign as well, in 10th position. Valentino Rossi in 11th place, followed by Kevin Estra, who was the last driver to take the checker flag. Scott Dixon classified, but dropped out 5 laps from the end. Jean-Nic Verne retiring also. Sebastian Buemi, Kevin Magnussen, Shane van Gisbergen and Tandy colliding in their concertina with Stoffel van Dorn. That might get investigated after, should Sam Hall request an appeal. And we've got the likes of Oliver Rowland, Alessio Rivera, Antonio Felix da Costa, Kelly Rovanpera, Alex Palou, and Kyle Kirkwood. There were 2 more drivers which I didn't run through there on the classification, but they retired as well. They were Oliver Rowland and Jamie Whincup. The 2 Cooper Kiros falling out at the same time, or dropping out at the same time, but at least they did come away with the pole position and fast lap points courtesy of Rowland. Another different race winner, and Ed Spencer will be a very, very happy man. Raffaele Marcello's win has moved him into the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Just 1 point clear over Alex Palou, who did not score or finish today. And Formatel's double points finish again has propelled them further clear in the Teams' Championship. It's time to run down on the Drivers' and Teams' Championship standings in League 1. In the voice of Topher Smith. And I'll see you for the next round at Potrero de los Funes in a couple of weeks' time. Topher, over to you.
Another fantastic race here in Curitiba, and it has resulted in Raffaele Marcello picking up his first win since Season 3. That has been a long time coming for the Swiss-Italian driver, and a very welcome victory as well for Ed Spencer, who enjoys the top step of the podium once again. But what has this race done to the championship standings? Let's take a look. As Raffaele Marcello moves to the head of the pack on 33 points, 1 ahead of Alex Palou on 32, and Hyunchun Guven, his second podium in a row, has put him into third in the Lancia on 30 points. Marcus Ericsson fourth in the Formatel on 28, ahead of Jamie Whincup and Jean-Eric Verne. Those 2 still not adding to their points tallies after their victories this season. Philip Hansen 7th on 23, ahead of Yuki Tsunoda on 22, Shane van Gisbergen on 21, and Will Power, his victory today, putting him up into 10th place on 19 points. And looking at the team standings, Formatel still leads the way on 50 points, 11 ahead of Force India, who moves up to second on 39 points. Minardi third on 36, ahead of Lancia on 34, HRT on 32, Ducati on 31. Very close this so far from second place downwards. Cooper Kiro 7th on 29, ahead of Prost on 25, Onyx on 23, and then a bit more of a gap down to Arrows, who are on 7 points, ahead of Jaguar and Carlin, who finally pick up their first points of the season, and BAR still to get off the mark, but will have plenty of opportunities to do so in the next few rounds. Well, before the next round we have the upgrade window, where teams will be able to spend their prize money on improving their power, their reliability and their downforce. It could change things as far as the pecking order is concerned. We will see how that all goes, and we will bring you the results of the next round at Potrero de los Funes, where things will start to get a bit more spicy as we head to Argentina. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in. It is always a pleasure to have your company, and we can't wait to bring you the next round. Until then, I'm Topher Smith. Take care.